it is my honor to welcome the man of the hour always, President and CEO of LakePoint Sports, my friend Mark O'Brien.
I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations.
How about a round of applause for Maria, please? Thank you, Maria.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, you know, we're thrilled to have you all here, and as Maria noted, it's an exciting couple of hours here that we've got lined up, and really the whole purpose of the National Youth Sports Summit, when it was really from the beginning 5 years ago, the idea was around how do we convene, connect, and collaborate with the industry's biggest leaders in the space, in this $40 billion industry that is the travel and youth sports industry. And so as we embarked on that, here we are, 5 years later, celebrating the 5th anniversary. We've got great partners. We've got a full room, but we have millions from all over the world watching on the live stream right now, maybe not that many, but we're thrilled to have our partners on board with us and the steps that we've made. Greg Barkoff and the team that have really pulled this together have done a really phenomenal job. Our mission is really, like I said, convene, connect, and collaborate with the industry leaders, investors, brands, and businesses. Ultimately, our purpose is to really create a better youth sports experience for our kids and our country. Because as we talk about youth sports, it's near and dear to my heart as a child that played sports throughout my childhood years, through high school, through college. But really some of the challenges we face today, and we'll touch on that. But there's actually a lot more good news in the space. And while the headlines might speak to some of those challenges, we want to really shine a light on some of the momentum that's out there. And we're going to share some of that information with you. So we're excited to talk about really how white hot the industry is. And what we mean by that is you really can't look at any publication today in just all the headlines that are capturing the industry, speaking to the growth, the momentum, the investment. It's really been a juggernaut over the past 3, 4, 5 years. And we're going to touch on some of the growth. Some of the numbers that you're going to see today are astronomical, from participation data all the way to startups and acquisitions and investments in the space. So we're going to get into a lot of that today as well. But before we get into that, I do want to introduce a good friend of mine he was a partner last year. He was a pro panelist. And this year, he and his organization came on board to be a presenting sponsor. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Will McIntosh. Will, as I mentioned, you were a pro panelist last year, and you enlightened all of us with a lot of the information on at the time NBC Sports Next, and all the work that you were leading under that organization. And we were thrilled to have you as a pro panelist. But then all of a sudden, here you are as a presenting partner of the National Youth Sports Summit. So share with us a little bit about that journey, how we got from pro panelist to presenting partner, and now we're live streaming this event around the world as we speak.
Yeah, well, first, Mark, I just want to say thanks for having us back. You and LakePoint have been amazing partners, and we are greatly appreciative. I know this is, I think, year 5 overall, but it's our 2nd year of being really involved. And I mean, this is an amazing facility. We have a great partnership, primarily through our Sports Engine Plays streaming product. I know Nick Busto, who runs that business for us, will be up here a little bit later to talk about it. But it's been an amazing year for our business. Sports Engine's still one of the market leaders in what we do, and it, along with 9 other businesses inside of Comcast and NBC Universal, is being spun out into a new public company called Versant. Matt Hong, who runs the sports media business for Versant, is going to be up here in a little bit talking to Maria about all the great things happening in that part of the business, and he's got some direct connectivity to the youth and recreation sports ecosystem as well. So we couldn't be more proud to be here. I think this is needed for the industry. It's amazing that you guys have taken the lead on that, so we're just thankful to be part of it.
Well, thank you, and we're excited to hear from Matt shortly. But the Versant Digital Platforms and Ventures. Can you speak a little bit more about the breadth and depth of what that actually means and what you're embarking on under this new platform, or is it too kind of hush hush right now?
No. I mean, this is it's been almost 20 years in the making, and it started off when we started investing in building out a business called Golf Now, which is now the largest online tee time reservation service and golf course management software provider in the world. And then that evolved into youth and recreation sports back in 2014, 2015, when we started looking at this space along with many others. And we saw an opportunity to invest in Sports Engine, and that's been an amazing business for us and a run. And then a few years ago, in the entertainment part of what we do, we added Fandango, which is the largest digital movie ticketing platform in the U.S., and Rotten Tomatoes, which is known for critical and audience ratings and reviews, to the portfolio. So that is what digital platforms and ventures are. And if you think about, the way I think about it is we really do two things across all three of those verticals. We connect people to their passion. And for those of you that are in this room, if you're a mom or dad with kids that play sports, or you're involved in youth and travel sports, it's a very passionate audience. And then we work with small and medium-sized businesses every day to help them run and grow their businesses. That could be golf courses, that could be youth and recreation sports organizations, or it could be movie theaters. And we're happy to be part of Versant. I'm happy to be partnering with Matt, and we're really excited about the future.
Well, we're excited to have you here, and what I really like about your story is that this isn't a new venture. This isn't something that just started. This has been something that you've been working on for a decade, building this infrastructure around digital platforms and ventures. And so really excited to continue down that path, that journey with you, and hear from Matt today. And just really thank you for being the presenting partner in the National Youth Sports Summit. And we're looking forward to a great day ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you. Look, I think it's a time of innovation and evolution in the business. And we're seeing new entrants, both strategic and financial, every day. I think that just speaks to what many of us in this room know, which is that every part of the life cycle of sports, there's this immense opportunity. Yeah. And, looking forward to a great agenda, and excited to be your partners, and we'll gladly support this in the years to come. So thank you.
Gladly support this for the years to come. I like that. Thank you. Will McIntosh, thank you. So as we embark on really the program, I think we're starting the first segment.
Yeah.
Is that right? And
You're right.
I think the team is actually here. You're stuck with me for a little bit longer. So, but we're going to have a gentleman I've gotten to know over the last few months, and he recently stepped into the role as president and CEO for the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, SFIA, as many refer to it as. It's great to have Todd and his organization here. He has a tremendous amount of data and insight that he's going to share with us. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome up to the stage Todd Smith.
Thank you, Mark.
One last time for Maria as Todd and I jump into it. Thank you, Maria. So Todd, before maybe we click the next slide, because one of the things I want to hit upon is just, and everyone's seen this number, a $40 billion total addressable market for the travel and youth sports industry, which is astonishing when you put that number up against the likes of the NFL, MLB, NBA, and you see the breadth and depth of opportunity in this space, which goes back to what I talked about a few minutes ago about being white hot. And the industry truly is white hot. So, as one of the things that we wanted to do is I talked to Todd, and Todd, I'll turn it over to you, because, nobody knows the SFIA data and research better than you. Yeah. And your organization is at the top of the mountain in terms of data and research, particularly around participation. So while the numbers are astonishing from a total addressable market, what's more astonishing is the participation data. So I'll flip it over to you here.
Appreciate it, Mark. Great to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. To Mark's point, from SFIA's standpoint, as we think about growth of the industry, particularly at the youth level, we really measure that by participation and participation rates. So what we wanted to do is just give you a little bit of a snapshot of where we were at prior to the pandemic and how the industry's continued to rebound and now be at all-time highs. So we're excited to say that 2024 was the highest that we've had from a participation standpoint at the youth level. You'll see over 32 million youth are participating in team sports, which is tremendous. We broke that down for you so you could see the difference at the specific age groups there. As we look deeper into those numbers, obviously we're all aware of some of the narratives in terms of specialization and our youth at too early of an age participating in just one sport. So we wanted to showcase this slide just so you can see that it's pretty consistent across all ages, that they're really plus or minus 0.1 or 2 in terms of averaging participation in 2 sports across their athletic journey. We also wanted to make sure, and I think this is a really important reflection of how a participation journey for a young athlete can look, particularly at different sports. So you can see what participation rates are going to be for a 6-year-old and where those rank with regards to specific individual sports, and how that either ascends, descends, has an arch with that journey, or stays flat. We highlighted a couple of key sports that we know that we have some active participants in the room around. And we wanted to finish just again as in terms of a high-level state of play from a participation standpoint of really the top sports by gender with those 2 age brackets. So you have the 6 to 12 and the 13 to 17. I think what's interesting here is you have a couple of these key sports that stay at the top of the list as they continue through their journey, but you also see a couple that pop up later on in a young athlete's journey as they become a teenager and as they enter those high school sports years. I think what's important to note here is just the availability of different sports and why these trends might be happening. So if you think about a basketball or baseball being top of the participation rates at younger ages, obviously they stay consistent as that athlete gets older. But then you have some new sports like track and field, volleyball. Those start to pop up later in the athlete's journey because we tend to see those sports and activities being more readily available as they get older and as they get to those high school years.
So Todd, real quick on the participation data. I mean, this is rich data, very incredible and impressive. But there's a lengthy report that you guys publish every 2 years, I believe it is. And so while this is a relatively recent data, it's from 2024, you have a new report coming out January 2026, is that?
Yeah, but I appreciate the flag on that, Mark. And from a research standpoint, SFI really prides ourselves on being the industry leader from a participation research standpoint. So if anyone has any questions, come find me. We have a large research library on sfia.org. We release an annual participation report. For the first time this year, we released a half-year participation report. So what the numbers we're showing here reflect through the end of 2024. You can actually then see how some of those trends have carried or adjusted as we've entered or passed the halfway part for 2025. We also released a new report that actually surveyed youth sports parents and asked them more insights into what goes into their purchasing decisions. So why do they purchase specific sports equipment? How often do they purchase that equipment? What goes into those travel tournament decisions? Who are some of the key influencers that are really impacting those decisions? So would encourage you all to check that out. If you have any questions, again, happy to dive into that. What Mark and I also wanted to show, again, you can see this tremendous momentum that the industry and the participation rates have been on post-COVID. We feel like the sky continues to be the limit. I think, Mark, you said white hot, right? And this is some of the wind at all of our industries back. So from SFIA's standpoint, we are really looking at the next 10 years. We're calling it our 2030 Forward campaign. So the Winter Olympic Games end or take place in 2034 in Salt Lake City. And between now and then, look at all, and this doesn't even capture all of them. There's a couple of key events we're missing that continue to get added to the schedule. But look at this amazing lineup of events that we as both leaders in the industry and then your general consumer are going to see all the live events, all the marketing around. And this is really what's going to drive those young athletes that are currently on the sidelines to possibly participate in sports that they otherwise would potentially not even know about.
Yeah. Well, and I think not only is the participation data incredible, but as you look at the tailwinds and these tentpole events that are going to be happening in our country, it gives all of us in the industry an incredible opportunity to engage not only the athletes, but the infrastructure around it to build upon the opportunity for more kids to play more sports, to have access to more sports, and really continue to see those participation numbers climb. Now, the reality is, if I may, there's challenges out there. So we can't hold an event here and suggest that it's all rainbows and unicorns. There's certainly challenges and headwinds in the industry. Specifically, we have to be cognizant around the health and wellness aspect of youth sports. Not only the physical side and you know the risk of injury because of specialization or the opportunities to diversify your sports play and participation, but the mental side as well, and the mental health and wellness of the student athletes in an environment. You'll hear from Arthur Blank later today in a video talk about the challenges that athletes face not only inside the lines but outside the lines because of the likes of social media and peer pressure. But you also see a lot around fragmentation in the marketplace, which has been well documented. We've got a lot of consolidation in the industry, which is great, but that also provides some turbulence as well that we need to kind of adjust and shift gears on. Accessibility and cost certainly continues to be a topic we're addressing. And then on the front line, I think one thing that doesn't get talked a lot about is coaches and umpires and referees and the shortages that we have there and the proper training for coaches and just the numbers that we need around umpires and referees. And the data would suggest that creates a more challenging environment inside the lines for the athletes, for the student athletes. So we need to really continue to address some of these topics as we have these tailwinds lifting the industry up.
Well, and we as leaders, I think we all have a responsibility to see those points as opportunities too. Yeah. Opportunities for growth, opportunities to continue to expand on the experience. So I appreciate you flagging that, Mark.
Yeah, let me. I'm going to jump on this slide here real quick. So as we talk about there's a lot of talk in the industry about all the challenges and all the issues. And while we could spend a whole day just on that, I think there's actually a much brighter side that Todd and I have talked about. When you look at the tailwinds, when you look at participation, we acknowledge that there's always going to be challenges, but there is a brighter path. And it's happening right in front of our eyes. And not a lot of people are talking about it. So we're going to shine a light on it today and talk a little bit about what we believe, or I believe, is the precipice of a youth sports transformation. So what I mean by that is, first and foremost, how do we define who's in youth sports? Well, it starts with the athletes, the coaches, the family members, and then I think the D1, D2, D3, JUCO coaches. It runs the gamut. And then you have pro scouts. And we have the pleasure of hosting all of them on our campus at some point in time throughout the year. But really understanding how do you deliver excellence in the guest experience for each one of these really customers as we think of it. And how do we create an environment in which they feel great about coming to an event that is on our campus, or really any campus, as we deliver excellence in the guest experience as an industry. And so while we may do some of that here at LakePoint, there's an opportunity for us to really look at a model that's more holistic, that's consolidated in many ways, but it's all about scalability. And we look at not only the full vertical integration of the operations, but do we have a system of venues? Maybe LakePoint is a flagship of venues, but others that are either strategically aligned or certified by the standards in which we put in place on delivering excellence in the guest experience across the country. And that's an important aspect of creating an environment that is more affordable and accessible to all athletes and families. And then we pick the key sports that Todd and his organization have identified as, hey, from a participation trend standpoint, these are the ones that are really of interest to the kids in our country, into our society. And that's the feeder system into maybe the professional leagues or maybe the Olympics. And so how do we approach this more holistically from a consolidated, scalable perspective with the guest experience really driving costs down and providing a value proposition that everyone feels a lot better about? So one of the things I wanted to mention, in addition to that approach, is really, the leagues are moving in this direction already. You're seeing the leagues move from a line item that is youth sports, hey, we're doing something in youth sports, where they're truly investing in it as a platform. Think of the NFL and what they're doing with flag football and how that has really galvanized the country around youth sports and one sport in particular. You see what a lot of other major pro sports leagues are doing, from the Play Ball Initiative to the Junior NBA to the NHL and MLS. And of course, today Sherry's going to be here talking about what the U.S. Soccer Federation is doing from a youth sports perspective as well. And RCX is on the front line, and Izell and his team are doing a tremendous job, RCX Sports, with the grassroots efforts of the leagues. But as they continue to prioritize youth sports as part of a strategy and not a tactic, I think we're on the precipice of a bigger opportunity in all of youth sports.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, please.
One thing I'll add there too. I mean, we're fortunate from SFIA standpoint to work extremely closely with all those leagues and logos you had on, and I would make sure folks are aware, if you're running or operating facilities back in your respective hometowns, that a lot of the leagues and in conversations with the third-party operators, they're looking for more partners to help extend and grow those youth sports programs. So know that those are opportunities that aren't just being done through the league level, but they're also looking for on-the-ground partners. And I think that's a great example of new trends that we're starting to see as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point as well as we also look at brands. So it's not only the leagues, but you have national brands. And we've got a few of them on the board here, the likes of Coca-Cola, for example, or Dick's Sporting Goods, who's really doing an incredible job right now, penetrating all facets of youth sports. Academy, not to be outdone, Academy has their own efforts in the space, along with the likes of Wilson and IHG, for example, in the travel part of travel sports. They've got a whole strategy around youth sports now. So it's really exciting to see the development of the platform overall and how it's being prioritized as a strategy for these organizations.
And we wanted to make sure, I mean, from SFIA's standpoint, we're fortunate just to be in great company with other nonprofits and leaders from the government side who are here to support the industry in any way we can, whether it's making it safer, whether it's increasing participation, providing research. So appreciate all the great work that our peers at NCYS, Wayne, that he's doing, that Tom at Aspen Institute's doing. And then hopefully you saw over the last 2 months that the administration recently reestablished the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition, which we from SFIA's standpoint will be working very closely to figure out how we can scale that and really bring that mission and that council at a grassroots level too.
That's great, and it's all part of the broader evolving model that we're talking about, and it's how do we harness this momentum, make sure that we've got strategic investment in this holistic approach that we're talking about, and that we prioritize the guest experience with those key segments identified to really elevate the industry as a whole and create a value proposition to drive costs down and create more access for all athletes across the country. And the good news is, this isn't just hyperbole. It's actually happening. You see the work that Unrivaled Sports is doing. Kudos to them. You see the work that RCX Sports is doing in the space along the lines of what we're talking about. IMG, of course, arguably the best academy in the country, the work that they're doing holistically. And a number of these other brands that really put forth the effort to prioritize their guests and the events themselves to make them best in class across the country for the athletes, the coaches, the family members, and the opportunities for the kids and their future aspirations.
So what Mark and I wanted to do as we transition to the final part here of the presentation is we've gone really towards the execution and what brands and organizations are doing. We just wanted to dive in at a high level in terms of some of the emerging themes or consistent themes that we've been seeing have really been matriculating across the industry. So we'll talk a little bit about the mixed-use developments, which clearly you have a lot of experience in here, Mark, and a couple other key themes.
Yeah, thank you. And as you look at these four, there's others that you could certainly highlight, but we felt like these four really spoke to really the industry at large. And as we look at consolidation, you see IMG acquiring Sports Recruits, Stack Sports acquiring Playmetrics, and PlayOn acquiring Max Preps. Those are just a small spattering of acquisitions that have taken place. The list is so long and impressive, and you see the deal volume that's up and the significant percentages of 47.7%, 68% overall. I mean, it's just the momentum is breathtaking, and it doesn't stop there. As we look at technology, that's probably the leading category of all aspects of the investment coming into the space. You've seen through Q2 this year, $52 billion raised across over 500 deals. So it's really astonishing to see what's happening in the tech space. And then certainly, mixed use development just developed through the first half of this year alone, over $1 billion in development. And it feels like every week there's a new announcement on new development across the country in some capacity supporting youth sports.
And this number, selfishly from SFIA's standpoint, we work every day to create an environment where the industry can grow. Growth from a business environment standpoint, from a participation standpoint, from a sports standpoint. And the amount of startups that we get to engage with, so we put here 670 plus. I mean, I think that doesn't even begin to tell the whole story of how much interest continues to come into our industry, how much new technology, how much new innovation. Just to give you a bit of an example from SFIA, we've been running a startup annual competition for the last 10 years. In 2025, we saw the highest number of inputs and applications for that program. That program only continues to grow. And it funnels then into what we were talking about in terms of acquisition and consolidation opportunities. So as we think about growth of the industry, you have to have it on both sides. You have to have successful companies continue to grow and push the experience, but you also have to have new brands and new technology and new innovation coming into the industry as well too. And it's great to see that as well. It's
incredible. So wrapping things up for y'all as we really think about this, the path we're on, and we believe it is we're on the precipice of this youth sports transformation. We look at the tailwinds that Todd mentioned. We look at the investment and the growth and momentum across all different sectors of the industry, and it's exciting to see it. But one thing we didn't talk about,
AI. Yeah. Which I feel like you can't go an hour in your day without someone saying AI. So we might have accomplished that feat here in the first 15 minutes or so of the conference. But I think just a couple of closing thoughts from SFIA standpoint and Mark from your standpoint of just what we're going to be looking at. Obviously, AI has already made its way into the industry from a positive standpoint, but what the future holds for it, I think that's for all of us as leaders to continue to figure out, continue to integrate into our businesses. I can tell you from my standpoint, I'll be really curious. We have great participation numbers, but we still have a lot of youth that aren't participating, and the data through AI should start to tell us stories about why, or if we made some tweaks around whether it's games, tournaments, whether it's rules, whether it's the overall experience. But I think, what I'll be looking for from AI is how can we start to get some of those questions answered, where then we can translate that into opening more doors for youth participants. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, for me, I think it's all AI is about transformation for the entire industry. I think it's going to help us holistically look at data differently, make better decisions faster, provide more enhanced guest experience across the board for the athletes, the family members, the coaches, and the scouts. I think it'll help us figure out ways to reduce costs as well as create more access through mobile devices and through technology and so much more. So that alone, I would anticipate that's going to be a sole subject on next year's National Youth Sports Summit stage. But really, I think what we've summarized here for all of you, we've got incredible tailwinds supported by a lot of great data. We've got a lot of investment coming into the space. We're harnessing that investment to really drive growth and that momentum to drive more kids playing more sports, more access, and driving costs down is ultimately where I think not only AI can help, but where the industry is headed with the likes of the leagues, the brands, and thought leaders like yourself. Todd, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Mark. Good stuff.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time on this. Thank you.